Now in this lecture, we are going to talk about establishing data governance plan. We'll also talk about data stewardship and data ownership, data privacy and data compliance. So this lecture will be comprising of three topics mainly. To describe the data governance plan, we'll consider an example here. After this example, we'll just go through the definitions because this will be a better way to um, understand this topic. So let's consider an organization XYZ Financial Services. So first we'll see what's the objective and scope. So objective for data governance in this entity is ensuring high quality customer data to enhance customer service and comply with financial regulations. So there is an entity XYZ Financial Services who wants to improve the customer service, and it should be in line with the financial regulations. So their objective is to ensure high quality customer data. Now scope of this thing is will be focus on consumer data, transaction data, and regulatory reporting data. So there will be, in my scope, there will be three sets. First will be the customer data, transaction data, that what is their transactions, and lastly, regulatory reporting data. Talking about the governance framework, so policies. So implement a data access policy that restricts customer data access to authorized personnel only. So only the people who are authorized to use this data should get this data. And compliance will be ensuring all data practices comply with the GDPR and PCI DSS. So these are the regulatory frameworks. Roles and responsibilities. So there will be a data governance council, there will be data stewards, there will be data owners. So Data Governance Council will be composed of CDO, IT Director, Legal Counsel, and heads of business units. The stewards will be appointed for customer data, that is marketing manager, because they will be they will be the person who will provide us the customer data, and transaction data will be the operations manager. And lastly, data owners. So head of customer service is the owner of the customer data responsible for accuracy and access. Next will be the data management processes. So there will be two things. So one will be data quality management and second will be data lifecycle management. So monthly data audits will be conducted to identify and rectify inaccuracies, and data lifecycle management defining a process for data retention. So for example, customer data retained for 7 years post account closure. Next point will be data security and privacy. So access controls, role-based access control, RBAC, to ensure authorized users can access sensitive data. Data protection measures, use of encryption for data at rest and in transit with regular security assessments. Metrics and monitoring. So key performance indicators will be track data accuracy. Target is 90%, which is set. A number of compliance incidents and frequency of data audits. Continuous improvement, so quarterly reviews of the data governance plans with updates based on new regulations or business needs. Lastly, training and communication. So awareness programs, conducting biannual training sessions for the employees on data governance principle, and monthly newsletters to update staff on data governance initiatives and best practices. So these are the few pointers um, in this. So there are total 7 heads which we have discussed. So just going back again to this example. So we have considered uh, an XYZ financial institution. So they want high quality data, customer data. They have to enhance customer service and comply again with the financial regulation. So this is their objective. Now for this, they have considered 3 customer data. So if we think that we have to give better customer service, So I need to know that what is my customer data, what transactions basically they are doing, and what is the regulatory reporting data. These three things will be the scope. After that, step by step we'll go. So first we'll define the framework. We'll provide the rules and responsibilities that who will be doing what. We'll be defining the data management processes. We'll talk about the security and privacy. There will be matrices to monitor what we are doing. And then there will be training and communication. So these are the 7 things that how we implement the data governance plan. So now we'll talk about the definition, because now we have understood the example that what actually we are trying to establish. So we are trying to implement a data governance plan. So to implement a data governance plan, firstly the objective should be clear, then the framework should be in place, roles and responsibility should be there, processes should be defined, we should have discussed about the security and privacy, matrices to monitor, and lastly training and communication. So creating a data governance plan is essential for managing an organization's data effectively, ensuring its quality, security, and compliance with relevant regulations. A data governance plan outlines the policies, roles, responsibilities, and procedures for monitoring data throughout its life cycle. So there are the components of data governance plans. Governance plan will be objective and scope. So purpose, define what organization aims to achieve with data governance. Example, improve data quality, compliance, and better decision making. So in this, there is enhancing customer service. Scope will be specifying which data domains like customer data, financial data, regulatory data, etc. To plan, the plan will cover. Second is data governance framework. So policies and standards establish guidelines for data management, including data access, usage and sharing, compliance, ensuring adherence to legal and regulatory requirements. For example, it can be GDPR, HIPAA, etc. Roles and responsibilities. So Data Governance Council, a group of stakeholders, as we've already seen the definition in our previous lectures. So in this, a group of stakeholders, example, IT person, legal, business units, heads of the departments, etc., responsible for oversight and decision making. Data stewards, individuals assigned to manage data quality and ensure adherence to governance policies within specific domains. Data owners, responsible for specific data sets, ensuring they are accurate, secure, and compliant. Data management processes. So this is two type: data quality management and data lifecycle management. Again, data quality management and data lifecycle management. So procedures for assessing, monitoring, and improving data quality. For it can be validation checks, data cleansing, sorting, etc. Data lifecycle management means guidelines of how to create, store, use, and achieve, archive, and delete data. So we have to manage the life cycle, how it will be, how it will start, how it will get stored, how much time it will be there in the system, and when it will be deleted. If archived, if required, then what will be the duration and how it will be archived. We have to see the data security and privacy. So access control, define who can access the data under what circumstances. Data protection measures, procedures for protecting sensitive data from breaches. For example, encryption. So it can be encrypted also. Next will be key performance indicators in the metrics and monitoring. So metrics to assess the effectiveness of data governance, that is data accuracy rates, compliance, audit results, etc. Continuous improvement, so regular reviews and updates to the data governance plan based on the feedback and changing needs. Lastly, training and communication. Awareness programs educate staff about data governance policies and the importance of data management. communication plan, strategies for sharing information about data governance across the organization. So, in conclusion, a robust data governance plan helps organizations manage their data assets effectively. It ensures quality, security, and compliance by clearly defining rules, processes, and policies. For in this, XYZ Financial Services can leverage its data to drive better business outcomes while safeguarding against risk and following the compliance and policies. Now we'll move on to our next topic, which is data stewardship. So, data stewardship and ownership are foundational components of data governance. By clearly defining and executing these rules, organizations can ensure that their data assets are managed effectively, enhancing data quality, compliance, and overall strategic value. A well implemented data governance framework supports informed decision making and fosters a culture of accountability and responsibility across the organization. First, we'll talk about uh, uh, I'll also explain the data ownership in this case. So, by name, we can data ownership means who owns the data. So, data ownership refers to the policy, refers to the responsibility and accountability for specific data sets within an organization. So, data ownership is linked with the data owners. So, data owners are typically senior level individuals or teams who have authority to make decisions about how data is collected, used, shared, and protected. So data stewardship is the involve the management and oversight of an organization's data sets. Data stewards are responsible for ensuring the quality, integrity, and accessibility and security of the data. Now we'll talk about the few responsibilities of data stewards. So as the name suggests, they are responsible for ensuring the quality, integrity, and accessibility and security. Hence, ultimately, they are more responsible towards the data quality. Hence, data quality management will be one of the responsibilities. So, data stewards will monitor and improve data quality by establishing metrics, processes, and tools for data cleansing, validation, and maintenance. They will be responsible for the data policies and standards. So they'll help create and enforce data governance policies and standards, ensuring compliance with regulations and organizational requirements. Metadata management. So data, they will be responsible for maintaining metadata, which provides context and meaning to data, helping users understand its usage. Data lifecycle management. So as we have discussed in our last example, so they'll be responsible for the entire life cycle of the data from creation to storage, maybe if required archive, and lastly deletion. Training and support. So they will educate and support users on data usage policies, data entry standards and tools, fostering a data-driven culture within the organization. Now, what there can be two types of data stewards. One can be business and one can be technical. So we have already viewed talked about this thing. So there will be technology and business viewpoint. So business data stewards will be focused, will take a business perspective towards everything, ensuring it meets the needs of the users and compliance with the policies. At the same time, technical data stewards will focus on the technical aspects of the data management, including architecture, database management, and integration with the IT systems. So we have already discussed the definition of data ownership. So from that, we can devise few responsibilities of the data owners. So first is accountability for the data. Data owners can be ultimately accountable for the accuracy, integrity, and security of the data. They must ensure that data is used appropriately and ethically. They'll be responsible to establish the assessment rights. So they define who can access the data and under what conditions, helping to manage permissions and maintain data security. Policy enforcement. So data owners enforce policies regarding data usage, including compliance with legal, regulatory, and organizational standards. Data classification, they help justify data based on sensitivity and importance, determining how data should be handled and protected. Lastly, risk management. Data owners assess risks associated with data use and work to mitigate those risks through proper governance policies. So now there's a relation between data stewardship and data ownership. So collaboration. So data stewards and data owners must work closely, while data owners set policies and accountability. Data stewards implement those policies and ensure compliance. Clear roles. Defining clear roles and responsibilities for both data stewardship and ownership is essential for effective data governance. Ambiguities can lead to data mismanagement and compliance issues. Communication. Open lines of communication between data stewards and owners facilitate better understanding and more effective data management practices. Now, what is the importance of this data governance? In this case, so data integrity and quality. Effective data stewardship and ensures high data quality, which is crucial for accurate reporting and decision making. Regulatory compliance. Data ownership and stewardship help organizations comply with legal and regulatory requirements related to data privacy and security, such as GDPR or HIPAA. Strategic decision making, good governance through stewardship and ownership enables organizations to leverage data as a strategic asset, improving business outcomes. Trust and accountability. Clearly defined stewardship and ownership foster trust among stakeholders as they know they are responsible individuals overseeing data practices. So this is the importance of data governance in this context. So just reiterating, so data stewards are responsible for ensuring quality, integrity, accessibility, hence quality management, data policy standards, maintain data, metadata management, data lifecycle management, and training and support will be their key responsibilities. While data owners are typically senior level individuals, so they are refers to the responsibility and accountability for specific data sets within an organization. Hence, they are accountable for data establishing access rights, policy enforcement, data classification, and risk management. So these are two different things, but they are highly interlinked. So as we have seen the relationship, they should work very closely because one sets the policies and the other is responsible for implementation of those policies and procedures. So they should work very closely and effectively at the same to ensure that the data governance is properly planned and implemented. So data stewardship and ownership are foundational components of data governance. By clearly defining and executing these roles, organizations can ensure that their data assets are managed effectively, enhancing data quality, compliance, and overall strategic value. A well-implemented data governance framework supports informed decision making and fosters a culture of accountability and responsibility across the organization. Now we'll talk about data privacy and compliance. So, by definition, data privacy refers to the appropriate use, collection, and sharing of personal data. It encompasses an individual's rights regarding their data, including how it is collected, used, shared, and stored. Organizations must respect these rights and ensure that personal data is handled ethically and securely. On the other hand, data compliance. So it involves adhering to laws, regulation, and standards related to data management and protection. Compliance ensures that organizations follow the legal frameworks governing data privacy, security, and ethical handling of the information. So data privacy and compliance are integral part of data governance, focusing on how organizations manage and protect sensitive information while adhering to legal regulatory requirements. So there will be a few key principles of data privacy. So one is consent, purpose limitation, data minimization, accuracy, storage limitation, security, and transparency. I'll talk about this in bit detail. So I'll again repeat these seven principles. So first is consent. Second is purpose limitation. Third is data minimization. Fourth is accuracy. Fifth is storage limitation. Sixth is security. Seventh is transparency. Now, what is consent? Organizations must obtain explicit consent from individuals before collecting or processing their personal data. This includes clearly communicating how the data will be used. So if I want to get some data, I need to ask that specific user that can I access his or her data, because it can contain some vital information or some information that that person cannot is not willing to share with us. Hence, consent is very important, because if it is not according to the consent, then it may um, go out of the situation. It may break some laws, regulations, etc. So our objective will not get fulfilled of effective data governance plan. Second is purpose limitation. Data should only be collected for specific legitimate purposes and not used in ways incompatible with those purposes. I should need to know that what is my objective, why I am collecting the data, and the data should be used only for that purpose only. Data minimization. Only the data necessary for the intended purpose should be collected. This reduces the risk of exposure and misuse. So proper, precise data should be collected. It should be used, and the life cycle will be defined, that how it is created and when it will get destroyed. Accuracy. Organizations must ensure that personal data is accurate and up to date, enabling individuals to rectify inaccuracies. Fifth is storage limitation. Personal data should not be retained longer than necessary. Organizations should establish policies for data retention and deletion. Sixth is security. Implementing appropriate technical and organizational measures to protect personal data from unauthorized access, loss, or misuse is crucial. Transparency. Individuals should be informed about how their data is collected, processed, and shared, including their rights regarding that data. So there are the 7 key principles of data privacy. Consent, we need to take a consent before taking any data. Purpose limitation, my purpose should be well defined. Data minimization, that appropriate data in the proper quantity or the best amount which is required, that only should be collected. Accuracy, storage limitation, security, and transparency. These are the 7 key principles for data privacy. Now, there are few regulations and standards which I have um, uh, displayed here. So one is General Data Protection Regulation. So it is a comprehensive data protection regulation in the EU that emphasizes individual rights and requires organizations to implement stringent data protection measures. Second is Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. So US legislation that sets standards for protecting sensitive patient health information, requiring healthcare organizations to maintain confidentiality and integrity. Third is California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, a state level law in California that gives consumer rights regarding their personal data, including the rights to know, delete, and opt out of data selling. Fifth, a PCI-DSS, which is Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, a set of security standards designed to ensure that all companies that all the companies that accept, process, store, or transmit credit card information maintain a secure environment. Lastly, ISO IEC 27001 and international standards for information security management systems, outlining best practices for managing sensitive company information. So data privacy and compliance are essential elements of data governance, as we have seen, ensuring that organizations manage and protect data responsibly while adhering to relevant laws and regulations. By prioritizing these aspects, organizations can build trust with stakeholders, mitigate risks, and leverage data as a strategic asset, while all maintaining ethical standards and legal compliance. A comprehensive approach to data governance that includes data privacy and compliance fosters a culture of accountability and responsibility throughout the organization. Now, what is the importance of compliance in data governance? We'll just again have a look at this. So one will be the risk mitigation. So, and it will ensure the compliance with data privacy regulation, which reduces the risk of legal penalties, fines, and reputational damage associated with data breaches and non-compliance. It enhances trust and reputation, hence trust and reputation will be the second importance. Respecting data privacy builds trust with customers and stakeholders, enhancing an organization's reputation. Transparent data practices foster positive relationships. Operational efficiency. Implementing data privacy and compliance measures can streamline processes and reduce redundancies, leading to more efficient data management practices. Data integrity and quality. Adherence to privacy principles supports the integrity of data by ensuring accurate, relevant, and necessary information is maintained, enhancing overall data quality. Cultural shift. Establishing a culture of privacy and compliance within an organization encourages responsible data handling practices among employees, fostering accountability. So these are the five importance of data privacy and compliance in data governance. So risk mitigation, trust and reputation, operational efficiency, data integrity and quality, and cultural shift. If we'll see that we are sort of discussing one of the same concepts in few of our last slides, but every time the definition is changing according to the circumstances. Maybe we have, if you'll again see this lecture, or if you'll go to the past lectures, you will see that we have read about this, or we have learned about this risk mitigation, trust, reputation, operational efficiency again and again in few of the slides as well. Every time the definition is changing according to the scenario, but ultimately the basic is same, that ultimately we are implementing a plan which is according is as per the law, which is in line with the organizational goals and requirements, and ultimately it is a way that an organization is performing according to the goals and values, while is in line according to the local regulations and guidelines. So this is basically what data governance is, and this is mostly, as discussed earlier, is more relatable with the mid and the higher group of organizations or size of the organization, because in small organization it can be implemented in day-to-day activities only. So if it's a small organization, suppose there's a director, there are two finance managers, one HR. If they are all sitting in the same cabin, then it can be done very easily. But it is more applicable in the mid and the large corporates and organizations. Again, for the implementation of this data privacy and compliance, again, our framework will be required. So data governance framework will be required. So organizations should develop a robust governance framework that incorporates data privacy and compliance as fundamental components. This framework should define roles, responsibility, and processes related to data management, data mapping, and inventory. Conducting a comprehensive data inventory helps organizations understand what data they hold, how is it used and where is it stored, facilitating compliance and regulations, regular audits and assessment for the data quality control. So conducting regular audits and risk assessments can identify vulnerabilities and ensure that data privacy and compliance practices are effective and up to date. Training and awareness programs, providing ongoing training for employees on data privacy principles, regulations, and best practices fosters a culture of compliance and responsibility. Incident response plans. So organizations should establish incident response plans to address potential data breaches, ensuring timely and effective actions are taken to mitigate the damage. Privacy impact assessments, which are also known as PIAs. So conducting PIAs for new projects or data processing activities helps identify potential privacy risks and implement measures to mitigate them. So this is how it will be implemented. So framework will be set up, mapping and inventory will be done, regular audits will be there, training will be there. In case of some mistake is there, so incident response plan should be there, and privacy impact assessment. So again, data privacy and compliance are essential elements of data governance, as we have already discussed uh, in this, ensuring that organizations manage and protect data responsibly. By prioritizing these aspects, organizations can build trust with the stakeholders and mitigate the risks. So till now, we have seen, we understood what is data governance, why data governance is required, data governance frameworks. We have seen data governance structures. We have seen the organizational level of data governance, strategic level, tactical and operational level. We have also learned about the frameworks for data governance structures, data governance rules and responsibilities. We have seen data governance, establishing a plan to establish the data governance. We have learned about data stewardship and ownership, data privacy and compliance. In the next slides, we'll learn about the data tools and technologies and the rest of the topics.